Hello everyone and welcome back to more AEW on TEW 2020. We're here for our second week of Dark and Dynamite, as we start off with Shawn Spears defeating Luther. Our first two of many debuts on this Dark, Bandito and Flamita, defeat El Lindemann and Tomahawk TT. Both very good performances. Okay, that's not awful on either of those. Ricky Starks then defeats Sonny Kiss. Another debut in Ace Austin defeats Kip Sabian. Yet another debut in Mary Dobson defeats Kenzie Page. Guess what? More debuts as Jeff Cobb defeats Pineapple Pete. Priscilla Kelly defeats Mel. One more debut in Andrew Everett, as well as Brian Pillman Jr. defeat Alex Reynolds and John Silver. Warhorse debuts. I don't have a card for him because he was on AEW before in real life, and ooh, okay, that's bit of a pain, but Warhorse defeats Lee Johnson. Then Lance Archer defeats a debuting Jonathan Gresham to end off our show of Dark, rather. Our show of Dynamite begins, as it usually will, with the Cody Open Challenge as he defends against a debuting Dragon Lee. Cody makes a good defense. That's fine by me. Dragon Lee, very nice performance. He's got pretty low pop, but he's just amazing in the ring, so it works out. Then we go to an interview backstage with Alex Marvez and FTR. And Marvez asks FTR about their whole contendership situation. And it doesn't really matter which one's saying this. I imagine they're switching between lines throughout this, and they say, Alex, we've come into AEW to make sure that this tag team division, which is already super rich and super talented, make sure that they're the best of the best, and being led by the best of the best is what's needed. We've all heard it from everyone, haven't we? Kenny and Paige are singles guys, but we need to show the tag team world what tag team wrestling is about. We're about making sure that chemistry is always shown. The Bucks losing to Lucha Bros is a big loss to them, yes. That doesn't mean we can count them out. So, what they're not going to downplay their competition. I probably should have just had Marvez unrated for this, but whatever. And then we get a debut from Kurt Angle as Harwood and Wheeler say that's why we've brought in a bona fide legend to coach us through all the steps toward victory. And Kurt Angle does in fact appear and says, I'm glad to be here to help you guys out, let me tell you. Had my fair share of tag teams in the past, and I've been super impressed by your guys' work over the years. Now, sorry to cut this interview short, Alex, but I have to discuss some strategy for tonight's main event against the Jurassic Express with the guys. So, Kurt Angle, I've brought him in and I've just realized I forgot to set him as a manager for the main event, but whatever, it's fine. Yeah, Kurt Angle, he is now here to help coach FTR. Real life FTR being coached by Tully Blanchard. Honestly, I just don't know enough about Tully Blanchard to really approve of that or deny that, but Kurt Angle's available. He's helping out FTR now. Both of them do fit the usually like being serious, but can go into more comedic moments thing, so hopefully my writing will be able to show at least some of the charm that they can have. After this, we go back into the ring, where Brandy Rhodes is just standing. She's in her ring gear. And she says the Nightmare family has, slowly but surely, become a fixture within AEW, and I'm proud to announce we're introducing new candidates for the family. So I'll be holding an open challenge for any applicants, or would-be applicants, who want to join. This is mainly just a way to debut some people, such as Mayu Iwatani. Yeah, admittedly, I did have to change things in the database so that she has a normal handshake instead of an exclusive handshake, but still, Mayu is one of the best wrestlers on the planet, I think. And like I followed Stardom here and there, and Like, of the main, like, Stardom trio of Mayu, Kairi Sane, and Io Shirai, like, Mayu might be the best up there. I mean, she has, like, a 10 popularity, and she got a 54 rating. With a poor gimmick, too. So, I'm fine with this. I'm planning to use Mayu a lot. Brian Cage then squashes Shawn Dean and breaks his wrist. What the hell, Brian Cage? Whatever. Taz steps into the ring, and he starts talking. He says, "Best friends, you guys think you can just get away with standing around and be all buddy-buddy? You guys think you're better than Absolute Ricky Starks or The Machine, the FTW champion, Brian Cage? Well, think again. Same goes to you, Orange Face. In fact, I see that you guys are catering today, huh? Well, if the producers can click button number 3, and then camera cuts to backstage, or not even backstage, to the parking lot, where, yes, I am stealing this from the real-life Best Friends versus Proud and Powerful. Ricky Starks, just by himself, he's taking the sledgehammer, he's completely trashed their van. Do I exactly know why they're having this feud? Not quite, why Taz is attacking them, but it's one of those things where I'll figure things out as I go. And then, you know, he's on the mic, and, you know, he's telling them, like, hey, you know, I don't know how to do a good Ricky Starks impression, really don't know what to say for them, but he's taunting the Best Friends, you know, your mom's van's lame, it's nothing like, you know, it's not as good looking as me, it's not, you know, that's a ton of taunting stuff like that, I don't know. And then eventually Chuck and Trent, they run out towards the stage, and they chase off Cage and Taz. Cage holding his wrist because he somehow broke it in a less than a minute-long match. After this, the Butcher and the Blade defeat the Gun Club after the Blade pins Austin Gunn, and we saw Miroslav debut. He attacks Austin Gunn, and he also attacks Billy. So, yeah, Miroslav. We've brought him in, and he stands over the Gun Club. Butcher and the Blade, they're just stepping back, they're just getting out of the ring. They're gonna let Miro do whatever he wants. Probably he hit both of them with whatever attack he wanted, then got a mic, waited for the Butcher and the Blade to pick up the win. And then Miro says, "For years, I've been toiling away, crushing every single obstacle in my path, and for what? Neglect? Not anymore. Billy, you know what you are. You're a legend of the business and a telling of exactly what's wrong with the state of this company. Old people like you and Dustin have no purpose in being here. You stand near the Crusher, Miroslav, and I will eliminate you piece by piece." Power bombs Austin Gunn. Leaves Miroslav, big old debut. Yeah, admittedly, when I wrote my stories, when I set out my storylines, I'm gonna be honest, I only have like a general outline of my stories. It's fine. Miroslav was not on the roster quite yet. He took until, I think, Monday of week 2 in order to actually sign. But he is here now. After this, Dasha Gonzalez is backstage, and there's a big announcement coming in as Sting steps into frame. Dasha asks why he's here. He says, "Many years ago, back in WCW, I had battles with and against a fantastic worker of the business, someone I respected immensely. While Chesley is not with us anymore, I've come into AEW upon request from Tony Khan to help mentor that very same wrestler's son. I'm here to help out Brian Pillman Jr. to get him up to the potential of his father, or even further past that." Sting debuts his legend gimmick. His gimmick doesn't really matter. He's going to be along to help coach Brian Pillman Jr., as well as some other people, but starts off with Brian Pillman Jr., will work from there. Then we get back into the back onto the ring. Chris Jericho standing. He says, "The Inner Circle is one of the best creations of the demigod, Le Champion, Chris Jericho. Yours truly. I mean, we're responsible for some of the best ratings in the show's history, but I'll admit, the Dark Order's numbers are worrying me a bit. Sure, most of them are a bunch of faceless goons that don't have the chance of getting any titles aside from their stupid leader, Brody Lee, but that doesn't change that there's a lot of them. So, I'm going to be nice to people. I'm introducing Le Champion's Open Challenge. If anyone beats me, they'll get to join the Inner Circle. Of course, they're much worse than anyone else in the circle, but they're still allowed in, so bring it on, AEW. Another open challenge coming by is Chris Jericho. He needs more people for the inner circle. Sammy Guevara is doing pretty well for himself. Proud and Powerful are there. Jake Hager's there, I guess. Then you have Jericho. But we could use some more people, some nice up-and-comers. And it seems like Chris Bay will not be one of them, as he loses to Chris Jericho. After this, Britt Baker is seen backstage, and she's in her wheelchair. Reba is behind her. Baker says, honestly, the catering here kind of disgusts me. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, because if I sugarcoated it anything more, it'd give instant cavities. I'm just going to jump right into it. All these sweets, all these junk foods, awful. All of it. Not a single bit of floss, not a single bottle of mouthwash, nothing. Just junk and gunk, rotting teeth. You know, if I weren't recovering from an injury, I'd get in that ring, take that championship from Shida, and make everyone do a teeth checkup to even have a chance at going at the title. But luckily for Nyla and Shida, I'm still a bit injured, so I'm just here to give my expert advice. Following this, Maki Ito walks into the shot and simply raises an eyebrow at the confused Britt Baker. She yells at Maki. Maki's just standing there, just being like, alright, whatever, lady. And then Britt Baker is approached from behind by Kairi Hojo. Real life Kairi Hojo, she's basically taking a hiatus from wrestling in order to head back to Japan. He might go back to Stardom, I don't actually know, but just, you know, I think it was like something like she got recently married, but that's not important for the game aspect. This isn't going to be realistic by any means. So yeah. And Kairi, she just teasingly says, so I would have a title shot, and then eventually her and Maki Ito head out. I also realized I didn't put Maki Ito to be at ringside, but whatever. Don't know if this will be a potential pairing for future use, or if this is just a one-time thing. Maki Ito just introducing Kairi. And Britt Baker is disgusted by Kairi's attitude. She tells Reba to go and get Kairi for making fun of Britt being a dentist. And Reba's like, what do you expect me to do? It's Kairi Hojo. And Kairi in her debut match defeats Allie with a spear. Then, in our main event, that's disappointing. FTR defeat Boy and his Dinosaur, and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus don't click. I might change that to neutral. Again, this isn't going to be realistic. I'm not going to, like, I will admit that I do finagle with the editor a little bit. I'm not going to do, like, much cheating per se, but, like, for something like that, like, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus have at least neutral chemistry. They don't have bad chemistry, but very disappointing in that. 66 rating. Only 2 segments over a 70. For that matter, 2 segments over a 65. Disappointing show, but still lots of debuts. And, you know, we have debut of Mayu Iwatani, we have debut of Miro, debut of Kurt Angle, of Sting, of Kairi, and we still have a bunch more debuts. Dragon Lee also, a lot of debuts on Dark. So the overall rating isn't great. Maybe we would have got a 70 if we had our music up, but it's fine. There goes the plan of having 70s the entire time, but I'm gonna change Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus's chemistry to neutral, because they should at least have neutral. But we'll be back for the next week of Dark and Dynamite.